This is the story of Liam Turner, a young man from Austin, Texas, whose life fell apart when he allowed those thoughts and everyone else's opinions to control him. But one moment, one stranger, and one simple lesson changed everything. Liam was 24, smart, kind, but lost. Every day he woke up with a weight on his chest, a silent pressure to live up to what others wanted him to be. His parents wanted him to work in finance. His friends wanted him to have fun instead of wasting time on big dreams. His boss wanted him to work late nights. Social media wanted him to look perfect. And in the middle of it all, Liam wanted to disappear. He would sit in his small apartment at night, staring at the ceiling, thinking, "When did I stop being me?" He had once dreamed of starting his own media studio, to tell stories that mattered, stories that could change lives, but he never did it. Because every time he tried, that little voice came in. What if people laugh at you? What if you fail? What if you're not enough? He believed those thoughts. He obeyed them, and slowly he lost himself. One Thursday afternoon, Liam was sitting at his office desk, eyes dull, heart empty, scrolling through emails. He saw a message from his manager. "We need you to work this weekend again." He sighed. That was the 5th weekend in a row. He wanted to say no, but he didn't. He didn't want to disappoint anyone. That night, as he drove home through the pouring rain, his mind was louder than the thunder. "You'll never change. You're just not strong enough." Those voices grew louder with every red light, every raindrop hitting his windshield. By the time Liam reached home, he felt completely drained. He sat on his couch, staring into the darkness. In that silence, something inside him broke. He whispered to himself, "I'm doing everything they said I should, so why do I feel so empty?" His phone buzzed again. A notification from social media. A friend had posted, "Finally quit my job to chase my dream. Feeling free." The caption hit like a punch in the gut. Liam threw his phone onto the couch and buried his face in his hands. Tears he didn't even know he was holding back began to fall. That night, he didn't sleep. He just sat by the window, watching the rain slide down the glass, wondering if life would ever feel light again. The next morning, Liam decided to take a walk. He didn't know where he was going. He just needed air. He ended up at Zucker Park, a quiet spot near downtown Austin. The morning sun broke through gray clouds, and for the first time in days, he felt a little warmth on his face. He found an empty bench and sat down. Across from him, an old man fed breadcrumbs to pigeons. After a few minutes, the man turned and smiled. "Rough day, son?" Liam gave a weak laugh. "More like a rough life lately." The old man nodded knowingly. "Ah, the mine's been giving you trouble, hasn't it?" Liam looked at him, surprised. "You could say that." The man tossed another handful of crumbs. "You know, when I was your age, I thought my mind was my enemy too. But I learned something powerful. You don't have to fight every thought that enters your head." Liam frowned. "So what do I do? Just ignore them?" The old man smiled. "Exactly. Not every thought deserves your attention. Some thoughts are just passing clouds. If you chase everyone, you'll never see the sky." The old man leaned back and said, "Let me tell you a story my father told me long ago. Once there was a young worker, honest, hardworking, but poor. One day, he met a traveler who carried 3 heavy bags. The traveler offered him gold coins to help carry them to the next town. The young man agreed and carried the first bag, which was full of copper. Then the second, filled with silver. Finally, the traveler asked him to carry the third bag filled with gold. As they walked, the young man's mind began to whisper, "The traveler's old, he can't chase you. If you take the gold, your life will change forever." At first, he ignored it. But then the voice grew stronger. "Just this once, you deserve it." And in one moment of weakness, he ran away with all 3 bags. When he opened them at home, he found no gold, no silver, only stones. And a note that said, "You were being tested for honesty. You have failed." Liam sat quietly, absorbing every word. The old man turned to him and said, That's what negative thoughts do, son. They trick you. They convince you to betray yourself. And by the time you realize it, you've already lost something precious, your peace. Liam looked down at his hands. But how do you stop it? How do you stop those thoughts once they start? The old man chuckled softly. You don't stop them, you see them. He continued, every thought is like a salesman knocking on your door. You don't have to invite all of them in. Some thoughts will lie to you. They'll sell you fear, shame, doubt. You just have to say, no thanks, and close the door. Liam nodded slowly. So I just observe? Exactly, said the man. When you see a negative thought coming, say, there you are again. Don't judge it. Don't fight it. Just let it pass. Because what you resist persists. He paused, then added, the mind is a tool. You can use it to build your future or let it bury you in the past. The choice is always yours. Those words sank deep into Liam's soul. He spent the rest of the day walking through the park, thinking about how much of his life he had wasted believing lies his mind told him. He realized he didn't need anyone's approval. He didn't need to compare his journey to someone else's. And he didn't need to fight his thoughts. He just needed to watch them, understand them, and let them go. That night, for the first time in years, Liam opened his old sketchbook. He began to draw shapes, faces, ideas. His dream of storytelling slowly returned. Days turned into weeks. He still had negative thoughts, but now he didn't obey them. When his mind said, "You can't do it," he replied, "Watch me." When people doubted him, he smiled and said, "That's okay, it's my path, not yours." Slowly, he began to change, not because the world became easier, but because he stopped fighting the storm inside his head. A few months later, Liam finally quit his job. He started his own small creative agency from his apartment, True Frame Media. It wasn't easy. There were nights of doubt and days of failure, but he stayed disciplined. He stopped chasing perfection and focused on progress. Every time a negative thought tried to take over, he reminded himself of the old man's words. Not every thought deserves your attention. And every time someone tried to discourage him, he whispered, "I'm not living for them anymore." Within a year, Liam's agency began to grow. He started working with local nonprofits, helping them tell stories that mattered, stories of hope, healing, and change. People began to notice his work. And the same friends who once told him to play it safe started asking him how he did it. Liam smiled and said, "I stopped living for others, and I stopped listening to every voice in my head." One morning, Liam went back to Zilka Park. He looked for the old man, but the bench was empty. He sat down anyway, the breeze warm on his face. In his heart, he whispered, "Thank you, whoever you were." He closed his eyes, listening to the sounds of the city, the laughter of children, the chirping of birds. He smiled. For the first time, the silence in his mind wasn't scary, it was peaceful. He had finally learned how to ignore the noise, both outside and inside. That day, Liam wrote down 7 lessons he had learned. He called them the 7 rules of mental freedom. Not every thought is true. Just because your mind says, it doesn't make it real. Don't fight negative thoughts. Outgrow them. Shift focus to something meaningful. Your peace is more valuable than people's approval. Never trade it. Comparison kills joy. Focus on your lane, your time, your growth. Action breaks anxiety. Move forward even if it's a small step. You control what you feed your mind. Be careful what you consume. Your thoughts don't define you. Your actions do. He pinned the list to his wall. Every morning, he read it out loud. And with each passing day, his inner voice, once filled with fear, grew softer, while the voice of purpose grew louder. My friend, maybe you're like Liam today. Maybe you've spent too long living for others, listening to the noise of doubt and fear, forgetting what it means to trust your own voice. But hear this, you are not your negative thoughts. You are the one watching those thoughts. And that means you have the power to choose which ones to believe. You don't have to fight your mind, you just have to guide it. So, the next time your mind says, "You can't," Smile and whisper back, "Watch me." Because once you stop living for others, once you stop believing every voice in your head, you become unstoppable. You find peace. You find purpose. You find yourself. If this story spoke to your heart today, remember, you have the power to quiet the noise, to live your truth, and to choose peace over pressure. Don't let negative thoughts win. Ignore them. Rise above them. And keep walking toward the life you deserve. And before you go, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.